Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Thursday evening, it's almost the weekend, and tonight we're talking energy prices. But I did want to say I'm sorry I have barely replied to any comments from yesterday because last night my head was mince. I will be doing more of that this evening later on, but I just thought I'd say thank you for the comments and I will be getting into them this evening. Energy prices. Now at the moment, the cap that the government have put on what we need to pay is £2,500. And I think it's April, is it? It goes up to 3,000. So our energy bill will go up again. The actual off-gen cap is going to be 4,000 in January. So there's this whole lot of jiggery-pokery thing. But the Chancellor yesterday, when he was speaking to some Commons committee on something or other, I don't know what, I haven't watched it all, I have to say. But what worries me, says her looking for her notes, is the language that he's using. Because, you know, you and I both know that we are cutting our energy bills. We're trying not to use the heating as much. We're trying not to use electricity as much or gas. And the Chancellor has said that we need to be looking to cut our energy consumption by 15% to try and help the country through the winter. Which, do you know, I get. That's, do you know, a lot of countries in the EU have asked that, just so that we're not trying to struggle to get energy. What disturbs me a bit more is the fact that we've got the Chancellor saying that families had to change their behaviour and have to take responsibility for their energy bills and think of how they're going to reduce consumption. Really? So we have to take responsibility for our energy bills and see how we can reduce consumption. Maybe if we didn't have such profiteering energy firms and a watchdog that seems to have no teeth whatsoever, and a government that just basically turned around and said, it's not our problem, you need to cut your costs. I'm sorry, what? You're quite happy to just sit back and let the people in your country be absolutely fleeced by profiteering? Oh, yeah, sorry, forgot. Tory. Isn't that the party of capitalists and making money and entrepreneurs and all that? Yeah, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that's a great idea. You know, people who have started up their companies, who have done all that, that's great. Using it as a government to not protect the people, to just let companies profiteer hand over fist, while you watch people in your country start to suffer from hypothermia, start to suffer from mould in their properties. That, I don't think, is acceptable at all. But, I mean, really, this families have to change their behaviour. Do you not think they're already doing that with the more than doubling of the energy costs that they've got just now? Do you not think families have already changed their behaviour, Mr. Chancellor? You obviously don't have to. It's all very well saying, oh yes, we've cut our energy costs. That's great when you cut your energy costs and you remove the things that you don't particularly need or you don't particularly want. But when a family with kids are struggling to put on the heating because they can't afford it, and the energy companies are now, with those smart meters, remote changing people to prepayment meters. Now, I have been there and done that. I had a prepayment meter. And the reason I do not have a prepayment meter now is that many, many years ago, and it wasn't 2018 Beast from the East, it was the one before that, we had a payment meter. And I did not have the cash. It was something like £50 in a week it was taking me for the electricity. Again, this house is all electric. I just physically didn't have the money. And I had to go to my parents and borrow money. But it was, I distinctly remember we went out in the car up to go to mum and dad's, and it was -14. So you can imagine trying to heat a house on electricity with storage heaters at -14. And also the cooking and the cleaning and the stuff like that. So where do they think this is going to come from? Do you know, where do they think people are going to get this money? But no, don't worry about it. Energy companies, put your costs away up there, it's fine. Do you know, electricity suppliers, that's fine. Yeah, use your smart meters. Change people onto a prepayment meter without telling them. Or just tell them and just go, that's it, done. There's a lot of people are not going to be able to have the cash in hand. There's some people just with the way they're getting paid, they can't do that every week. What they do is they pay at the beginning of a month. On a cold month, they won't have the money. So the whole point of direct debits is so that you can spread it out through the year. So that in the summer, when maybe it would normally cost you £50 for the month, that is counteracted from the winter when it's going to cost you £300 for the month. So don't be giving me you have to take responsibility. What's it? Have to take responsibility for their energy bills. I'm sorry, what part of -14 is my responsibility? How do you expect me to be changing that? So if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Chancellor, would you maybe like to get your wee head out of the clouds and start to see how the real people live and how factors out with our control mandate what we have to do with our energy bills? It's all very well you standing there doing your waggy finger going, you need to stop using as much electricity, it's your responsibility, you need to cut your bills. Yeah, do you want to come up to Scotland in -14, mate, and tell me how I'm supposed to reduce my energy consumption by 15%? That's normally when it goes up 15%. We do not live down in the southeast where it's nice and cosy. Thank you very much. So yes, not happy with this at all. His language really, like, proper irked me. Just, you know, as if we're not trying already. As if people are not cutting their cloth to suit already. As if people are not switching off their heating or only putting it on for a couple of hours. Because, yes, that's what I've been doing. Have the heating on for a couple of hours, switch it off at 8 o'clock, I'm normally in bed by 10. By the time I get up the stairs at 10 o'clock, it's Baltic. And that should not be what's happening. It's not so bad for me, but what about people who have got people that are ill, that are caring, that are elderly, etc. Do you know how I feel about that? So, there you go. That's my thing today. Be careful. Just watch what's happening with your energy bills, because certainly from the way he's saying things, the help isn't going to be there much longer. He's already said it's going to stop completely in spring 2024, apart from the most vulnerable. Now, if I had to pay a £4,000 electricity bill starting in January, and that's the average, remember, some people are going to be a lot higher. If I had to start paying that in January, yeah, I'd be living in candles, because that's just, you know, by the time I pay the mortgage, pay the council tax and pay the electricity bill, there would be nothing left. So there you go. So that is my joyful, happy little thought tonight. It's you know, scary stuff. I don't know what's going to happen with this. I'm presuming that they will still help the most vulnerable, but the fact that we're just getting told it's our responsibility and we need to reduce our bills, I basically see us getting left with dealing with whatever happens with the energy prices. So yes, on that happy note, I'm sorry it's so depressing, but you know, what can I say? It had to be said. I am going to love you and leave you. I'll catch you later.